nitty-gritty. So perhaps because of the security, of course, that is the whole essence, security of lives and property. For the constitution have said that that's the priority of every government. And perhaps we would start from that critical juncture. Do you believe that, of course, some people have clamored for the establishment of state, creation of state police. As it is, the police is decentralized on the federal government. So what do you think concerning this clamor for state police? Because the argument for and against is neither here nor there. So what is your opinion concerning all of that?
Well, yes. Thank you very much, moderator. I wish to say this first and foremost, that don't let us, that security of lives and property is uppermost. And I want to say straight off that, well, yes, because of the trend that we have, increase or upsurge in insecurity all over the country, one will realize that indeed it is important, it is imperative that the security network or security architecture must be enhanced, improved in such a manner that, well, yes, you can go to sleep and you have eyes closed. But let us now look at it critically. Yes, state police. Well, yes. I would say that state police is desirable indeed, but there is always a twist to it. No matter how desirable it is, let us also look at how it is, its implementation will look like. Now, establishing even the state police is another thing entirely. There are certain bottlenecks. There are also other issues that will arise in ensuring that we have a state police. Now, let's look at it. How do we come about getting state police established? Ideally, as we have it currently in Nigeria, we know that it is, as we have mentioned, it is decentralized. Command and directives come from the top hierarchy flowing to all the states of the federation, where you have, in all the states you have the police. But now, the states, all the 36 states, have come together and they have written to the president to say that now is the time to establish state police. Why have they said so? Now, I also want to remember, I think I do remember sincerely too, that at a point in time when our current president was the state governor around 2002, 2003, he actually clamored for state police. He was in the forefront of those demanding to have state police, granted. But then, when these 36 states governors have come up to say, since last year, they all came together and said, we want state police. The president, who is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, has not said anything about it. But can he directly give orders for the establishment of state police? The answer is no. There ought to be a proposal made by the president himself upon the recommendation or the request of the state governors to the president to say, this is the reason why we want the establishment of state police in all the states in the federation. He will make the proposal to the National Assembly as a bill. The National Assembly will also now consider that bill, and when it is debated and granted eventually, what you get is a framework sent back to the states to adopt, establish, and see how they can go about it to ensure that indeed there is a proper framework and network of establishing a state police.
Yeah, but Barrister, just to continue, some have also said that for the state police work,
Yes.
the constitution will have to be amended. That the issue of security is on the exclusive list. I don't know how true, because we're looking at also at the constitutional framework
Yes.
in order for this to work.
No. That was why I said that it has to go to the National Assembly. What does the National Assembly do? Makes laws.
Yes.
You know. So if it doesn't go through there, when they make a law now, what will happen will be that it will now become a law of the Federation. The law they will make will be it will simply be an amendment to the Constitution. You see, there are some bills that are brought to the National Assembly, and when they deliberate upon and pass those bills, they become laws. When those laws are there, you see that they are there as additional to what we have. When there is an addition to the Constitution, it becomes an amendment. It may not be constructed or said in the strict sense of it that, oh, this is an amendment to the Constitution. But there are, when you begin to make laws affecting the Police Act and all that, you realize that it becomes an amendment.
Okay. So, in your own opinion, do you think that Nigeria is ripe, is matured enough for a state police? Because some have argued that Nigeria is not yet matured, that there will be abuses, by the state governors.
Oh, well, you see, there is no better time than now. You see, look, there are so many other things that we need to consider. I know for people to say that, just as we have mentioned, issue of abuse is there. Definitely, when a state police is on ground, there is a tendency, definitely, for that police, state police, to be abused. It would then be like he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Currently, in all the other states of the Federation, can you please tell me which state has not been responsible for ensuring that police work adequately in each state? I'm coming. I'll get to your question. The governors are there. They have security votes. They use those security votes to buy vehicles for the police. They use the security votes to buy gadgets for the police. They give them equipment. They build offices for them where they can operate. They can interface with the community, with the entire populace at the same time. So what are we saying? Now, I now went to say that it sometimes gets to an abuse. Some will use it for political gains. Some can also use the state police for maybe expansion and all that. They want to gain more grounds, thinking that they have the waiter to ensure, to empower the state police. You understand? And we never can tell. You can begin to think about a state like Lagos, think about the state like River State, think like a state like Bayelsa or even Kano State, who have the wherewithal, they have the money to spend on the police. If they have such money flowing with, among them, and you never can tell. No governor is too pure. No governor is, in quote now, very sane when he sees an opportunity and would not want to expand. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. That's why I'm saying this expansionist mode can be activated. You think you have the money, you think you have the men, and you want to crave for more space. You want to ride or take over a portion that is not yours. And because you have the equipment and the men on ground, you begin to use what you have to want to get what you ought to have. All right. That's not yours.
All right, Barrister Larry, we'll go on a very short break, and then we'll return. We'll continue on this. Right. So, Barrister, I welcome you to the show. So, of course, we were discussing the issue of state police. Yeah. The proposed creation of state police. Yeah. And we are looking at the pros and cons to that. Yeah. So some people have argued that there will be abuses, with the creation of state police by the governors. Yes. So, what is your opinion? Do you think that Nigeria is ripe, is ready and matured for creation of state police at this juncture in our democratic journey?
Thank you very much. The point we need to notice is that Nigeria is ready, in fact, overripe for the creation of police, state police. And the question we need to address is, why state police? Why do you need state police in the first place? We know that the Nigerian police, as we know it, was formally merged together in 1930. And at the time it was created, it covered the whole nation. Then after independence, the police also was regionalized. There was the central police and the police that served the regions. Now, in today, we have insecurity that has gone to alarming dimensions. Killings everywhere. And sometimes you wake up every day to hear stories of killings, 51, 52, and so on. Now, what will address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria today is the creation of state police. And how will that happen? By the time the various states have their own states, now the governor, who is the chief security officer in that state, will be in a position to call the commissioner of police and give instructions or directives, and the commissioner will obey. Do you know that in the present structure, it is endorsed by words that the governor is the chief security officer. The commissioner in the present federal structure, the commissioner is answerable to the IG. And it is only the president that can talk to the IG and so on. And you realize also that because of what we have presently, the states are lacking in terms of security. There are no adequate security mechanism for the various states of the federation. And that led some states to go about creating their own informal security outfits, like the Amoteco, the Bubago, and the rest of them. But that does not solve the problem of proper policing. So, what Nigeria needs today, and urgently too, is to amend Section 214 of the Nigerian Constitution, 1999, as amended. Because that's the provision that says that the Nigerian police is one, and no other police force to be created in the federation or any part thereof. There's need for the National Assembly to amend the Constitution and allow for state police, because what necessitates the issue of state police is security of lives and properties. And then, of course, recently the Inspector General of Police had an occasion in an event to call for decentralization of the Nigerian police. Let the states have and equip their police force. We recall in Lagos State, for example, when Fashola was the governor of Lagos State, there were security breaches in Lagos. It was so much. And then what they did was to call together experts, and they put rapid response squads. And they tackled this issue of insecurity in Lagos State, and Lagos became safe. That could be replicated in all the states of the federation by the governor. So if there's any governor who has collected security votes and is not ready to utilize it for the purpose of securing the state, we will know. In Plateau State recently, in Benue State and other parts of the country, we have witnessed unimaginable, mind-boggling bloodshed, bloodbath, killings. Now, if there is state police, the governor of that state will be held accountable, because he has sworn to uphold the Constitution. And the Constitution has guaranteed lives and safety, protection of lives and safety to the citizens through the police force. So it is not right for us to say that because there's likelihood of abuse, that is why Nigeria should keep on waiting and suffering in silence. No. Now, the people that have talking of abuse, so people have even argued that under the present structure, that the federal government may abuse the police in the context of using the police against perceived opponents.
Some people will say the devil you know is better than the angel, because of course we are entering an unknown water with the state police. So some people will say the devil you know is better than the angel you do not know.
But I don't agree with that. that aphorism that the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know does not make sense at all, because devil by its nature is wicked. The agenda of devil is to kill, to destroy. The angel has a nature, and by the nature of the angel is to do good, to bless, to help. So the angel you don't know is still, the angel you don't know is still better than the devil you know, because the devil you know will always come out to kill, to destroy, to maim, and to cause agony.
Sorry,
No.
Resta. See, no, I'm just trying to look at something, because an aspect of what you mentioned, though I subscribe to state police,
Yes.
but an aspect that you raised, to say the example you made in respect of when there was crime, an upsurge in crime in Lagos State,
Yes.
the former governor Raji Fashola's son came up with a strategy to ensure that security breaches were nipped in the bud.
Yes.
I have no issue with that, but remember,
Yes.
that wasn't any state police. It was a synergy between different arms of the same police to ensure tighter security and tighter policing, better policing. That time, I can remember very vividly that, one, he equipped, like I said earlier, he equipped the police the more.
Yes.
They had telephony equipment, quite different and apart from what they had on ground.
Yes.
So he also ensured that, look, individuals could easily call particular number codes,
Yes.
wherein the
Respond
police
quickly.
on the snap of the
Yes,
finger
yes.
will quickly respond.
Yes.
So I'm thinking now,
I'm
it is
coming to that.
that the structure we have on ground has failed us.
Yes. I'm coming to
That's
that.
why people are saying, well, yes, we need state police and all that and all that. I agree. I said it earlier before you came on. It is desirable. I agree with you. But we also say that, well, yes, the people say it's up to for abuse. And I also agree that abuse is imminent. Anytime you have something good, we have a good product, be sure that you have a counterfeit of it. Abuse is inevitable. But how do you checkmate
your train of thought?
Yes.
That, of course, the example you gave, that the Lagos State governors are then synergized with the existing police.
Yes.
So why can't other states synergize with the existing police, just like the Lagos State synergized
well, yes.
and solve the security
well,
problem?
yes. So
they need to open
no.
another layer.
One thing, no. We see at that time, the political structure was different. The political structure we have in those areas, in these areas where we have problems, are different. So we now begin to look at what we have on ground. Who is there? Who is at the top? What is the interest of the people there, and what is the interest of the people upstairs? What exactly are they trying to pass across to the federal structure to say that, oh, well, yes, here we have these issues on ground. If certain things are not done, there will not be peace. But that is not so. That is why the governor is the #1 security officer of that state. So if you continue to go cap in hand begging for people to come to your aid, then you are not supposed to, you are not fit to be the governor, you are not fit to be #1 security personnel of that state. What you do is to be proactive, take up issues. Look,
Just like
Fashola did.
So that's
no,
our point. Yeah.
no, you may not. I'm sorry, Mr. Obiora. Yeah. You may not. If you find, for instance, that as we have it on ground, that the structure at the federal level are not supporting you, please, you have been advised over time.
To do it.
When it comes to security issues, how? You also mentioned, don't mind you, that we have Amotekun, you have some OPC members. I'm saying
Yes.
informal structure.
Yes.
But then, for you to bring sanity and peace to your domain, you see, they say, how do you say this? Well, issues that deserve you to attack violently, attack those issues violently, so that what you have on ground will be resolved. it will be resolved.
Now,
but if you do that, you cannot continue to say your state is not safe when you have not done enough to ensure safety of people and properties in your state.
well, I know that experts, analysts,
Forget
have
experts,
have come
forget
to the
analysts.
conclusion that what we have in Nigeria is that the governors and chief security officers,
Yes.
but they are impotent.
How?
Because they don't have the power to compel the commissioner to act. We recall the case an incident that happened in the previous administration when a governor of a state had security information that the state was to be invaded by herdsmen, and he tried to reach out to the president, who could call on the IG for response, and he was not able to do so. Maybe because he belonged to a different political party, I wouldn't know. But he was not able to reach to the president. He could not speak with the president for 2 hours. And what he wanted to stop eventually happened, and lives were lost. Now, assuming the governor had the authority to tell the commissioner there are threatened invasion in social areas, mobilize women, that wouldn't have happened. So why do we need to wait? And then
you
the
have it
other
there.
point,
Yes.
The other point I want to make is that our present policing is inadequate for the present day Nigeria. We need police that is technologically driven. We need police that uses technology, AI, and other modern trained means of policing. Not the traditional police that, like in those days, they use batting. Even these days, armed robbers
Information is key.
Yes, I've said information.
Yeah, that's it.
I said information.
That's the basis, yes.
Because what we need is that before it happens,
You will have known.
You would have known and stop it. That's what happened in
Yeah, but
other
do you need state police for all of this to happen? This could happen on the federal structure.
No. Do you see? What is important is that let the governors have the power that in reality, in actual life, that is they ascribe to. And then let them equip the police and pay the police well. Like my good friend here said, which is the fact. When the former governor Fashola is saying, set up the rapid response squad, they were well paid. They were paid more than the other. Yes. And they were well equipped. You can't send somebody to go and they confront somebody with AK-47 with the ordinary pistol. You are playing with your life. So the police should be properly paid. And of course, that when there are a decentralization and their state police, the governors on their own will make proper training for police. They can go to other countries to get modern equipment for information gathering, networking, and proper policing. That is the current trend. So that before anything happens, you don't even need to allow it to happen. Because the law says that the police are to prevent.
Yes.
That is the number one thing. To prevent crime. And how do you prevent crime? When you already know crime is about to be committed, you prevent it. There are equipment that they will use. And when criminals are discussing, planning this thing, they already know. They will know where they are. And with the AI, the assistance of AI on that, with the equipment, they will go there and nab them. It has happened.
Yes.
And it can still happen in Nigeria. All this issue of kidnapping, you begin to wonder. This kidnapper, they use SIM card, they still use phone, and yet they are not discovered. So long as there are no complicity somewhere, with the modern equipment, it will be easy.
I do believe.
It will be easy to identify and prevent.
Mr. Ome,
yes.
You see, I will say this with all sense of humility.
Yes.
That while talking about security, are you also aware that I'm sorry to say that some of our policemen are also complicit in ensuring that nothing good comes out of policing.
That is why I said some 2 minutes ago that except in case of complicity, we have had in cases where even our own police officers and armed men are ganging up with criminals.
That's what I'm saying.
Kidnapping.
Because
we've seen instances
sometimes
where policemen or other forces paid by the federal government are using the weapons to be engaging in criminality, kidnappings, robbery, and all those things. Well, that's I said cases of complicity. And some even deliberately try to frustrate the efforts of genuine police officers.
Thank you.
So that at the end they'll be asking for more funds that for equipment, and also we also need to look into the issue of the funds that are being allegedly used or budgeted for buying weapons or weapons that never arrived. And such a thing.
You see,
All right.
You see,
All right, Mr. Jericho, let me just come in here. So what do you think are the potential risks or challenges associated with having a multiple layer police forces in Nigeria? Because, of course, once the state police is created, federal police will also be there.
Of course.
So you're going to be having a multiple layer police.
Even at the local government level, in those days, there used to be local government police.
it's not.
So
I don't think there will be any problem.
there won't be any challenges at all.
You see, the federal structure will remain.
Yes.
The state police will be there.
Yes.
The states
So what will
and
be
the
function
federal,
of the federal police?
what do they do? The federal will intervene when there are issues between states, state to state. That's when the federal police will come into being. When there are issues within the states, and it seems, you realize that sometimes we have in all of our advanced countries, when there are issues in the state, and same is getting out of hand, what they do is ask for assistance from neighboring states. The police cannot, from another state, ordinarily come into the state that you are, except when called for assistance.
So we're going to be having federal police localized in each of the states.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying is this. Now, you have the state police, right? Well, hold on, the way it is. You have the state police,
Yeah.
just like you have the sheriffs, like the police in the US, and you have the FBI. The same way we have the police and we have the DSS here, we have the state security services here. Now, we are not saying one is overlapping the other. You have the structures here. We are saying now, when the state police is created, what will happen upon the amendment of the Constitution? What will happen is that there will be commissioner of police. This commissioner of police will be subjected to the directive of the state governor.
Yes.
Do you understand? But mind you, when issues to manage the state, the federal structure is the IG. The IGP controls the entire police. When it comes to no, not the one in the state. The way I'm saying is, the one in the state will have direct responsibility or answerable to the state governor in each of the states. Do you understand? Now, there is a structure that can be put in place. Now, both the state and the federal governments now will have a workability of how the state police will not at any way overreach the federal structure. The federal structure will only be those ones like we have, like I'm trying to say, like DSS and all that. I don't know how they want to do it.
DSS will not be police. So
DSS is not a police.
Oh,
It
it's
is.
not
It
police.
is.
So we're talking about
It is
the
an
police.
investigation.
Yeah, a police now. So you see, are we going to be having the federal police, or the federal government is going to abolish its own police? So
The federal government will not abolish its own police
federal
at all.
government will still retain its own federal police. That's the way it is in US and other.
So
countries
those
that
federal
practice
police
federalism.
should be in all the states.
No, what happens is this. The federal police will still carry out functions, duties, like federal highways. They will patrol the federal highways. They will also be there to protect federal government installations or institutions in places. Now, do you know that ordinarily, the federal highways are meant to be manned by only federal police, not state police. because they are federal highways.
There are no
Now,
state police
yeah,
now.
so I know, that's what I'm saying. That when
We are
we
trying
have-
to,
When we
okay.
have state police, it is only, the state police will not go to federal highways to man. But federal police, when the federal police will do that, then, of course, we have some police that are for special institutions, at the Nigerian Railway has its own police command, has its police
Yes,
commissioner.
yes.
The Marines and other. So those are still there for to be controlled by the federal
By the
government.
IG.
Yes.
Exactly.
That
You are
way
correct,
control-
Mr. Omen. Absolutely
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
That's just the structure that is on ground.
Yeah.
Because you'll be thinking there should be one state commissioner of police. No, you have commission. He has said it quite
Yes,
correctly.
yes.
That's like the Nigerian Railway has a commissioner of police.
Yes.
The maritime sector also has a commissioner of
Yes,
police.
yes.
The airways
Yes,
also
they
have
have
commissioner
their
of
own.
police.
Yes.
All right.
Just
But
like that.
What is very compelling is
They
they
all-
need to urgently deploy, great, and have state police to curb the insane killings, kidnappings in this nation. And once that is done, I believe
All right.
it will, be minimized, if not totally obliterated.
All right, because we are almost running out of time. So let's take this question. Of course, you've all agreed that we need state police in
That's
the
the way to
country.
go.
That's the way to go.
That's the way to go.
Yes, but
Urgently.
some people have also, there has been a worry, concerning the financial capability of maintaining state police by each of the states. So what happens to states who are not able to financially manage? Wouldn't that be a breeding ground for criminals to attack other states who are managing theirs?
Now, the issue of security is the very purpose of coming together to form a government. Protection of lives and properties. We know that before civilized society came into being, there was a state of chaos. The mighty ones will beat the weaker ones.
We know that
Take
some
whatever
states,
happened to them,
yes,
will
that
be
are
done
going,
to
we
them.
know that some
Obedience
states,
state.
we know that some states struggle
Yes.
to pay,
Obedience state.
Obedience states.
we know that some
But
states
now-
struggle to pay salary
Now,
currently.
just hold it. Now,
Mr.
people
Omen,
came
Mr. Omen,
together.
hold on now.
to-
Hold on now.
Yes.
Is it compulsory
Mhm.
that some entities called states,
Mhm.
some local government areas called states,
Mhm.
should still exist?
Well, that's a.
I don't know.
That is a question.
You know where I'm going?
Yes, I know where you're going. There are some states that cannot afford to take care
And they
of
clamored to be states,
their. Yes,
having said that they can on their own
yes,
generate revenue,
yes,
they can sustain themselves.
yes. Mhm.
Are they fitting only on the revenue from the federal government?
I see that is.
That should come up. I think we should begin to think along that line too.
Yes, the line of having true federalism, where the state generate their own income. If you are not able to generate income, it means you are not
Mr.
fit
Omen,
to exist
Mr.
as a
Omen,
state. Yes,
let me tell you something.
yes.
You know what we are saying? Mark my word. Do you know that it can go back to what you said from the beginning? In the beginning,
Yes.
regions.
Yeah, because the issue of state
Regions.
police is a complex situation. Where some,
Regions.
of course, we all know that
It
some
will,
states might
when
not
you
be able to
divide, when
finance.
it goes to the minutest
Yeah.
portion, it can go back to issue of regions.
All right, democracy and the rule of law. So, of course, let's just be brief. We're almost out of time. The issue of the dissolution of constitutional structures in Rivers State by the sole
Yes,
administrator.
yes,
So,
yes.
as lawyers, and of course, as lawyers, there's been an issue between the MPA and the sole administrator too. Where they accuse MPA of holding some of the funds of Rivers State. But let's take.
No, that was the point I was giving.
Let's
when
let's take
that example.
I will not go into it.
The issue of the River State sole administrator,
Yes.
dissolving structures, government structures already on ground, is an action that calls to a big question in law. So, who warranto? Who authorized you? Because anybody that's appointed into any government office has an act or a law that appointed him or her and listed what he or she is expected to do in that office. When the sole administrator was appointed, he was given a compass, parameters of where to act and what to do. And then the man went outside it and was dismantled structures.
That's the question I want to ask.
So upon what authority is he acting, or has he acted? Who authorized it?
They gave him this. Do you know if
No. They were well spelled out.
They were
If anything, you cannot go all out.
Outside the area of your
So
authorization.
you are destroying.
So what was he authorized to do, sir?
They are there now. Just in the first instance, you be the manager of affairs of the state, a manager.
Yes, that means you're able to take administrative
Manager. You can take administrative actions. You are not
To
to
manage the
destroy.
state.
Manage.
Yeah.
You are not to destroy
Yes.
people who were elected
Yes.
on platform of political parties. No, he has no power. Even Supreme Court has said even the governor of the state cannot dissolve a local government. They must have elections properly so called and be elected. Those people are elected. They were not selected into those places. So he acted ultra vires, his powers. So I don't understand who is giving him this power, this thinking that, oh, well, yes, he can do this and get away. I think people...
Part of the issue of constitution, the budget that is being is going to be implemented has been passed, that he wants to pass. That also...
He has...
It's also
you see,
outside
because-
his...
yes, it is outside his purview. It is whatever you are going to do, you must also pass same to the National Assembly now, who will look at same. It is now dependent on the approval of the National Assembly before you can make expenditure. But mind you, you have a program on ground. The law allows you to spend, I think, is it 3 months or 6 months of the previous time, or the kind of budget you had the previous year. You can still expend same in the current year before the budget is passed. Has the budget been passed? The answer is no. So any other thing any other expenditure outside the 3 months period, I'm not too sure now, 3 or 6 months, outside the 3 months period, you need to now take your budgets to the National Assembly. They will scrutinize and pass the one they want to pass, the one that is not, because they are giving directives on what to do as a manager, pending when the 6 months will be up.
And the other nagging question is
Yes, sir.
that the Supreme Court ordered that the funds meant for Rivers State will not be released to the government headed by Fubara
At that
and
time.
Go,
Yes.
because the budget had not been properly presented and they passed and appropriated.
True.
Now,
True.
up to the date that Fubara and Go, were...
The budget was still not passed.
it had not been done.
Yes.
So upon what authority now the central bank and the other government
Release the
agencies
fund,
release
local
the funds? Upon what
No,
authority?
no. They said they should not starve the local government staff and all that. But then it is clear that whatever to be done is, if it is for the inconvenience for managing the affairs of the local government areas, for the purpose of paying their salaries and other contingent matters, funds will be released to pay them. Despite local government funds not being released for maybe projects and all that, they have money to pay the staff. It is the staff that should not suffer. But
That was the
unfortunately,
Supreme Court said.
that's the determination. That's what it is now. They cannot spend if you are not releasing their funds, the funds to carry out projects.
Yeah, but the current project. But that's a topic. So obviously, that is what he's doing is unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional.
All right. because
Pure
we are-
straight and simple. It is
we
not.
are out of time already. So wish we could perhaps
So,
next week.
in
Perhaps
a-
next week we'll look at
yes,
this.
in
So
a
let's get your
nutshell-
last word on this.
It is incumbent on the federal government headed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to urgently put in place measure for National Assembly to amend the constitution and get state police into action, just like the IG said 2 days ago.
All right.
And then concerning Rivers State, the sole administrator must be called to order.
All
He
right.
has exceeded his bounds.
All right, Pastor Larry, let's get your last word.
Baba Tinubu, my hands are up for you. I pray, please, you were in the forefront that time. Please ensure that the needful is done to ensure state police is on the ground. Secondly,
right.
reconsider your stance on the Rivers State.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much for gracing the show this evening and for your insightful analysis. This is where we'll draw the curtain on today's edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law.